Hey, welcome you on into another episode of the Big Time Sports Podcast Show. It's Mitch Spinell and Mitchell Bally here to give you guys the latest on what's going on in the sporting world, man. Mitch, we're getting to latter stages of the spring season, man. It's good to be back with you. Good to be back for another week talking about sports, and we have a number of things to go over. We have scores, stories, standings, and some new tournament draws that we'll be seeing here in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah, Mitch, I'm very excited. This is a very fun part of the season to be talking high school baseball and softball. Also really test to see where the players are at mentally and how well they can focus because, Mitch, we have some league titles that aren't yet decided. So a lot of these players and teams cannot be overlooking games they have this week, looking ahead to the playoffs now that we know where they'll be playing. I'm very excited to talk about that later in the show.
Of course. And before we do that, I want to remind you guys of what's happening this week in Big Time Sports. That is our weekly segment where we talk about what's going on in the broadcasting side of Big Time Sports, whether it's on BigTimeSportsOhio.com, the local broadcast network app, or your local cable listings. We want to start off with the Big Time Sports Show because we have a number of special guests coming in here very, very soon. On Wednesday, May 10th, you will be able to see at 7 p.m. Guests from the Mazzarelli Baseball Complex come on with Charlie Jones here on the Big Time Sports Show. Obviously, the Mazzarelli Baseball Complex, a great new business operating in between Tuscarawas and Stark. Very, very highly acclaimed facilities right now. Very good stuff going on there. You can see that once again on Wednesday, May 10th at 7 p.m. and Friday, May 12th at 10 p.m. And then as for our streaming games this week, you will be able to see starting at 5 p.m. on Monday, a live stream baseball game between New Philadelphia and Minerva. That game taking place at Tuscarora Park. You can find that game on BigTimeSportsOhio.com or on the LBN app or your local listings, which we'll get to here in a second. You can also find it on replay on Monday, May 8th at 10 p.m. and on Tuesday, May 9th at 4 p.m. I mean, Mitch, we have that set up there. We also have one guest on the Stark side of the Big Time Sports Show and 2 games in your area.
Yeah, Mitch, and why not tune into the Big Time Sports television show to talk to some national champions? The Ashland women's basketball team will be on the Big Time Sports TV show this week. You can catch them Thursday night at 7:30 and Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. to just recap that magical and very impressive run by the Eagles out of the University of Ashland and the eventual undefeated national champions in Division II women's basketball. And then games this week, Mitch, we have a big one Tuesday night. Jackson baseball travels to Green High School, 5 p.m. Tuesday. That is a live stream, 5 p.m. on BigTimeSportsOhio.com and the local broadcast network app. You can find the replay on television Tuesday night at 10 p.m. and then Wednesday, May 10th at 4 p.m. And then Thursday, May 11th, the Hoover Vikings and Perry Panthers softball teams square off. That also can be watched live on the live stream at BigTimeSportsOhio.com and the LBN app at 5 p.m. And then you can catch the TV replay Thursday at 10 p.m. and Friday at 5 p.m. if you aren't able to watch that game live.
Of course. And if you guys want to don't want to watch, if you can't watch that game live, you can find it on your local cable channel, Spectrum 15 or 989, depending on your standing within Tuscarawas and Stark counties. You can also find it on MCTV 128 or go to WIVMTV.com. That you can watch is where you can watch all of our games and weekly shows anywhere in the world. Mitch, we're going to be covering a number of these games this week. We're going to be obviously going to New Philly to see their matchup with the Lions. The Quakers getting nearly complete with their regular season, as are a number of schools. And with that, I mean, we go over some of the scores from this past week. We had, as we mentioned in our previous episode, a number of games that were washed out, but a number of games that were also able to happen over the weekend. Some Saturday matchups were able to be complete. What was going on in Stark County on the baseball side that some games were able to get in?
Well, Mitch, before I get to the baseball side, a big congratulations to the Green Bulldogs softball team who captured their first ever Federal League title in softball since joining the Federal League all the way back in 2015-16. The Lady Bulldogs defeated Hoover this past weekend to clinch the outright Federal League title for the 2023 spring season. So a very big congratulations to the Lady Bulldogs. Jumping into baseball, I mentioned the Federal League title in softball. Federal League title in baseball, not yet decided. We could have it decided this week, which we'll have to keep an eye on when we look at some games. But over the weekend, you had some teams really go out of conference, out of their league, and some teams use it as tune-up games. to get right, as the tournament draw was this past weekend, which we're going to cover next segment. I know the Hoover Vikings baseball team defeated Ursuline 7-1. Hoover improves to 10-8. McKinley defeated Firestone 5-2. McKinley now back above the 500 mark. They're 12-11 on the season. Green defeated Ellett. Ellett, a tough team that we're going to talk about later here in the show. Green defeated them 7-5. Green now 3 games above 500 at 11-8. East Canton defeated Bristol 10-0. Lake had 2 games. They defeated Norton on Friday night 11-5, and then defeated Marlington, a very tough Division II school here in Stark County, 12-2 on Saturday. Very big games for Lake. Just for them, obviously, have a lot of rainouts last week to get back on track and get a couple wins under their belt. That is very good. Massillon, you saw that game here Friday night on Big Time Sports. The Polar Bears hosted the Tigers. Jackson defeated Massillon 4-1 Friday night. Landon Dahl going 4 innings for Jackson. Carson Pastorius then in relief for 3. Drew Stitt took the loss for the Tigers. But then on Saturday, Massillon turned around and tried to take on a very tough Worcester team. Unfortunately, could not beat Worcester. Worcester defeated Massillon 7-3. So Massillon on a bit of a slide now. They're 11-6 overall. Worcester 15-3, a very tough team that not a lot of people are talking about, Mitch. We'll have to see what they do here down the road. And then Glen Oak had 2 games over the weekend as well. They defeated Louisville Friday night 7-0, and then defeated Revere on Saturday 4-1 for all of our baseball scores up here from Friday and Saturday in Stark County.
Sounds good. As far as the games that were able to be taking place in Tuscarawas County this week, we had a couple of them on. We had one of them on the Saturday edition of our blog, which you can find at BigTimeSportsOhio.com. Garaway was able to win against Sandy Valley 12-0 in 5 innings. And that one, Peyton Keller was able to throw 5 scoreless innings while drawing 3 hits while striking out 7 in the victory. He also had 3 hits in 4 at-bats, as the Pirates are now 13-8 on the season and 5-5 in the IVC South. The Cardinals fell to 11-9, 3-9 overall. That's where the baseball standings are currently at this point for the IVC, in which Buckeye Trail and Conotton Valley are surging at the top at 9-1 and 9-3 respectively, with the Warriors standing at 16-2 overall and the Rockets at 14-8. One team that could still survive in the mix, Strasburg, is at 12-9 overall, 7-3 in the IVC. Strasburg was able to get 2 big wins against New Cumberstown this week to essentially knock the Trojans out of the IVC North race. Now for the South, Indian Valley is ahead at 10-1 in conference play, 17-3 overall, even though Highland is at 19-1 on the year. They are 9-1 in IVC play. So those 2 teams are really going at it hard to try and get the divisional championship. Now, we've already seen on the softball side, Strasburg already locked up the IVC North at 11-0 for the year, 20-2 overall, as the tournament is about to get underway. Now, for Indian Valley and Garaway, the Braves are 10-1 and the Pirates are 10-2. That's going to be a tough race there. But Claymont's also in the mix, still at 9-2, with the Braves at 16-2, Garaway at 15-6, and Claymont at 14-7. So when we come back, we're going to go over some recent area high school news with you guys. We had another tournament draw on Sunday involving local baseball squads, and we're going to get to much more here on the Big Time Sports Podcast Show. Hey there, folks. This is Mitch Spinell, and I want to give you guys a quick message regarding 988. If you don't know what 988 is, it was created to make it easier to remember how to get help in the event of a mental health or addiction crisis. This is different than a medical, fire, or police emergency where 911 should still be called immediately. 988 connects you with Stark County's Crisis Center, which is equipped to help people in emotional distress or experiencing a mental health or addiction crisis. So remember, 911 for medical, fire, and police emergency help, and 988 for support in overcoming a mental health crisis in Stark County.
Buying a home has never been so affordable with record low interest rates. Hartzler's Quality Housing is ready to put over 40 years of experience to work for you. Family owned and operated since 1978, Hartzler's has a wide selection of model homes on site with a knowledgeable team to help make your new home a reality. Open 6 days a week. Visit them off I-77 in Dover or online at hartzlers.com. Hartzler's Quality Housing. Quality from start to finish.
You deserve the best. And at Ferris Chevrolet, Buick, Cadillac, Toyota, that's what you get. We consider you, the customer, to be part of our family. Anybody can make promises, but when you visit Ferris, you get the Ferris deal from a Ferris wheel. So if you're looking for a car, truck, or van, think Ferris. Think Ferris.
You invest a lot in your home and vehicle purchases. Van Nostrand Young and Associates want you to feel secure should anything happen to those investments. We partnered with providers like Grange Insurance and other industry leaders to be sure you're presented with the most complete coverage to fit your needs. Because we're not only here to protect the items you invest in, we're here to protect your future as well.
Call Van Nostrand Young Insurance in North Canton at 330-497-1867.
We all have 206 things in common. Our bones keep us up and moving. And we at Cleveland Clinic Union Hospital care about every single one of them. From the tip of your finger to a brand new hip, our orthopedic experts will keep you going while keeping you safe. For every break and breakthrough, for every bone and joint, for every care in the world. Get the care you need when and where you need it. Visit unionhospital.org.
Wendy's without the Wendy's app is like Nugs without the sauce. Or a Frosty without the fries. Or a hamburger without the fresh beef. No! Level up. Get the app to order ahead, order delivery, earn free food, and get app-exclusive offers. One app, all the Wendy's.
Offer for a limited time at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. App registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Vibe Auto Sales, located on West High Avenue in New Philadelphia and Cleveland Avenue in Canton, is a used car dealership committed to getting financing for everyone. We give every customer that walks in our showrooms a prime buying experience, no matter their credit score or financial situation. Current inventory can be viewed at www.wefinancenow.com. Check out our Facebook pages for the most up-to-date information about upcoming events and promotions happening at Vibe Auto Sales.
Get out of the dugout and onto the field with help from Velocity Sports. Velocity Sports is a baseball and softball training academy with locations in North Canton and Canal Fulton. Our new Canal Fulton features 10,000 square feet of training space with 6 cages for hitting and pitching and a large commercial weight room. Velocity Sports will sharpen your skills and get you in the starting lineup. For more info, go to velosportsohio.com.
We're back here on the Big Time Sports Podcast Show. Before we get to our next segment, Mitch, I've been noticing a lot of the area games, even though we just talked about a few of them from this past week. Some schools did not even have any games this past week and may not have them this coming weekend because of the yearly tradition that is incoming that is known as the high school prom. I want to know, Mitch, your best prom story that we are able to talk about on this show.
I really never had too honestly, we had a game the day of our prom, my senior year.
Okay.
We played Wadsworth at home. And my senior year, we were very, very good. Without going into detail, we were undefeated. And so we played Wadsworth, and it was a tightly contested game, a mid-afternoon game, and it lasted forever. So it ended up being a 1 or 2 run win for us. I think we beat Wadsworth 3-1, and then we had to book it out of there to get home, get showered, and look decent enough for pictures. I mean, I never forget people in our group that we were teammates with. Where is everybody? Why, pictures are this time. We're like, yeah, sorry, we have a game. And to my knowledge, I do not think they've scheduled a game the same day of prom since then, because there was also a time, Mitch, my junior year, baseball fundraiser on a Saturday night. We played Walsh Jesuit, I think 11 a.m. We went into 12 innings with them. So the coaches who run the fundraiser were also almost late for that one as well. So there's a good history of typically winning on days where there's things afterwards. But as far as good prom stories, and it's not that I have any that I can't say on air, it's just, I just went and had a good time. It was always a good time at prom.
Very cool. And you're going to think the people who are watching at home, you're going to think I'm trying to score myself some points here. And I promise you it's the opposite, because this is the $4 Party City hat that I won when I got at when I was voted prom king my senior year, but it wasn't the case of, oh, this guy, we want to vote this guy prom. It was more so the case of Yeah, let's just give it to him because he hasn't won it yet. So I think that was the case because I was on winter formal as well. And I was like, okay, I'm just kind of walking around here, just okay, doing this whole thing. Oh, it's so and so one. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then it's the same thing with the prom choir. I was like, all right, cool, thanks, guys. And then that was it. But I don't know. It was a senior year is definitely better than the second year, I would say. But enough about prom. Let's go on to the topics that we had at hand. We had a drawing on Sunday in which a number of baseball seedings were made for the upcoming baseball tournament. A number of local schools in the mix, some from your side, some from my side, Mitch. I mean, you even posted out a one tournament bracket that included a number of your local schools. It looks to see that Jackson is getting a bye in this upcoming first round. Is that correct?
That is correct. And so I sent you the voting results. And so there's a number of teams, and this is just like basketball for everybody out there. It is 3 districts. So it's typically a super district voting poll. So there was 35 schools in Division I voted upon. Jackson, when the voting polls closed, was still 16-4. They're since 18-4. Some of these other schools like Lake on here, 9-6, they're 11-6. So the record on the poll does not really represent what the record is as we record today. That's not a big deal. Jackson did get rewarded the number 1 overall seed, which meant they got to pick what district they wanted to go to, Mitch. And so for baseball this year, there is the Canton district, which is played at Thurman Munson Memorial Stadium. There is the Macedonia district that is played at Nordonia High School, and the Euclid district played at Euclid High School. Jackson opted for the Canton district. Walsh Jesuit, the 2 seed, took the Macedonia Nordonia district, which with where Walsh is, it's very close, right down the road. Aurora was the 3 seed. The Green Men chose the Euclid district. Now, after that, it was, okay, where do some of these teams want to go? Who do they think they can beat? And it got crazy after that. You had the next, you had the 4 seed and the 7 seed, and Chardon and Hoban jumped to Canton. Stowe jumped up, I believe, to Macedonia, and University jumped to Euclid. Some other area schools, though, and this is where it gets fun. Massillon, the 10th seed, opted for Canton, Mitch. Dover, the 15 seed, opted for Canton. Canton McKinley, the 20 seed, opted for Canton, which is also their home field. Hoover, the 21 seed, opted for Canton. A couple other schools in here. We mentioned Chardon. Euclid was in here. Akron Ellet, a team not too far removed from where we cover, hopped into the Canton district. So all of a sudden, the Canton district, Mitch, not only boasted a ton of talent when you look at some of the top seeds in Jackson, in Chardon, in Hoban, in Massillon and Dover, but some other good area school teams like Hoover and McKinley jumping in here as well. And so with that being said, Jackson will take on the winner of the Hoover and Euclid matchup, which, Mitch, if we're going by seeds, it could mean a rematch at Jackson on May 18th at 5 between Jackson and Hoover, a game in which Hoover came to Jackson earlier this year and blanked Jackson 8-0. And so there's a lot of revenge there for Jackson. There's a lot of confidence there for Hoover, and rightfully so. It's not often a team comes to Jackson and wins on the turf, let alone shuts them out 8-0. You have Massillon and Dover squaring off in the sectional championship. That'll be on Thursday, May 18th at 5 at Massillon. That should be a very fun game. Chardon will await the winner of Canton McKinley and Cleveland John F. Kennedy, and Hoban will await the winner of Akron Ellet East Lake North. That is the Canton district. When you look at these other districts, we mentioned the Euclid district. So the reason that's up next is the winner of the Canton district and Euclid district will play each other in the regional semifinals on June 1st. Location is still to be announced. We're not sure where that could be. Past couple of years, it's been at Louisville. Before that, when I was still playing, Mitch, it was actually at Thurman Munson Memorial Stadium. So there was just 2 local teams, and it was Greene and Perry that are in the Euclid district. And Mitch, they're playing each other on Tuesday, May 16th in the sectional semifinal game. Perry will travel to Greene. The winner of that will take on Stowe, who is the 5th overall seed. In terms of other local teams, there's really none in there. Aurora, though, the top seed. Stowe Monroe Falls, then the 5 seed, second highest seed. University right there as well. And Kent Roosevelt. Those were the 4 schools receiving byes. The Macedonia district, excuse me, local team in there, the Glen Oak Golden Eagles. They were an 8 seed. They will receive a bye, as will the Louisville Leopards, who are the 9 seed. They will receive a bye as well. That is Walsh Jesuit, who is the top seed in that district. They will be the home team throughout the entire district, assuming they continue to win and move on. You look at Glen Oak, they will take on the winner of Nordonia and Boardman. That game is at Nordonia, and that game will be then at Glen Oak on Thursday, May 18th at 5 o'clock. Louisville will host the winner of Lake and Willoughby South on Thursday, May 18th at 5 o'clock at Louisville. And so that could be very entertaining because, Mitch, Glen Oak and Lake on the same side of the bracket. And I mentioned to you before we started the show, the Federal League could be decided this week if Jackson is to win all 3 games. Jackson takes on Green on Big Time Sports Ohio on Tuesday night. You can watch that here, 5 p.m. live stream. Then Green at Jackson Wednesday at 6. But then Jackson and Glen Oak make up one of their 2 games from earlier this season, week 2 of the season, on Saturday at 11 a.m. If Jackson is to win out all 3 of those Federal League games, Jackson will be outright Federal League champions. If Jackson beats Green and sweeps Green, which is no easy task, Jackson will be at least co-champions. Glen Oak, though, Mitch, still has to play Jackson and Lake twice. What makes that so interesting is, yes, Lake would have to pull an upset, but Lake and Glen Oak have already agreed for one of their 2 matchups to be between the district and sectional championship rounds. There's a chance Glen Oak and Lake play on a Saturday after sectionals and then play just 6 days later in the district semifinal matchup, which could be crazy, assuming both teams continue to win and move on. And listen, some of these teams, I believe, got underseeded because of how tough the Federal League is, and these teams can beat up on each other. But just crazy to think about. For Glen Oak, that game could mean so much in terms of being a Federal League champion, but also you don't want to show too much in case you see them in the playoffs. So just something to keep your eye on there. But that was really all the Division I teams there. A couple other teams, you have Alliance as the number 1 overall seed in Division II. That is the Louisville district, Mitch. They could play Marlington in the district semifinals. And West Branch is also in that district. They could advance to the district championship and potentially take on Alliance or Marlington. Division III, Canton Central Catholic is the 7th seed. They will host the winner of Ashland Mapleton and Tuslaw on Wednesday, May 17th at 5. And then the last local team I wanted to give a shout out to is Hartville Lake Center Christian, the number 1 overall seed in Division IV. They will be in the Struthers district, which is up in Youngstown at Bob Sean Park. This is a team that lost a heartbreaking game in the district championship last year. And Mitch, with how they've come out this year, they look like a team on a mission to get back to that same spot, but have a different script to end that game. And so we'll keep our eyes on them. They could potentially face St. Thomas Aquinas in the sectional championship on Thursday, May 18th. But that about does it for all the teams up here in Stark County for baseball.
Matt, you brought up the potential matchup that the 2 schools could have where they play to determine the conference and then could play 6 days later. You also have a similar situation where Buckeye Trail and Canton Valley on the Ivy League North side play on Thursday, which could determine the divisional champion. Now, for the East District side, which is mainly where a lot of the Tuscarora schools are located for the upcoming tournament, we had in Division 4 a number of very solid teams going to be representing. Obviously, number 1 Highland will get a bye to take on the winner of the opening round game, which happens this coming Saturday between number 14 Malvern and number 6 Bellsville. Whoever wins that plays the top seeded Hawks on Monday, May 15th, in what is considered the second round in a 1 o'clock matchup, since schools are officially out by this point. Most schools, I believe. We also later in the bracket, Bishop Rosecrans taking on Tuscarora's Central Catholic. TCC, the number 17 seed, so the lowest seed in this bracket. Number 3, Toronto takes on number 15 Bridgeport. The winner of that plays number 8 Newcomerstown or number 12 Shenandoah. We also have Steubenville Central Catholic, the number 2 team, taking on Monroe Central, number 13. The winner of that either plays number 6 Strasburg or number 7 Caldwell. Also, number 5 Canton Valley. The Rockets are kind of a sneaky team in the mix. They could take on they'll take on number 10 Shady Side. They'll either take on number 4 River or number 11 Frontier. In Division 3, the top seeded squad is the Fort Fry Cadets at number 1. They'll take on the winner of number 5 Edison and number 14 West Muskingum. Fort Fry's game is set for Wednesday, May 17th at 5 p.m. You also have here, by the way, the Edison and West Muskingum's game is for the first round. There are no buys in the Division 3 East District bracket. Barnesville takes on number 9 Tusky Valley, the Shamrocks number 7, while number 3 Garaway takes on number 13 Union Local. On number 6, Coshocton plays number 11 Bel Air. Number 4 Harrison Central plays number 12 Ridgewood. And number 10 Sandy Valley will play number 8 Martins Ferry. In Division 2, we have 2 sets of East District brackets, one of them featuring the second-seeded Tri-Valley squad. The Scotties will take on either number 12 Steubenville or number 21 Beaver Local. Next lower spot in the bracket, as Tri-Valley's game is set for Tuesday, May 16th at 5 p.m. and the opening round game set for Saturday at 1 o'clock. You also have in the opening round number 15 Buckeye Local taking on number 17 Claymont, the winner of that playing number 4 St. Clairsville, while number 10 Philo will play number 18 Meadowbrook. The winner of that game will take on the 6th seeded Quakers of New Philadelphia on Tuesday, May 16th at 5 p.m. And then the last of the regular open first round games, not in the opening round, is number 8 Indian Creek taking on number 13 John Glenn. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Dover would be around your guys' area, Mitch, as Jackson is in Division 1, so is Dover. Those two teams could potentially meet up here in the next coming weeks, depending on how the results go.
And they're Dover elected for the Canton District, which is where they actually were at last year, Mitch, before they were defeated by Hoover, the eventual district champion in the Canton District. So Dover will have some familiarity up here, playing in the same, atmosphere they were in last year, but they have to get past a tough Massillon team. And then the winner of Massillon Dover advances to the district championship at 2 p.m. the following Tuesday. And it could be a matchup with Jackson, potentially Hoover, or who knows, maybe Euclid, a team that's seated, very low, gets hot at the right time. And that's the one thing I wanted to mention, Mitch. As great of a high school baseball season we've had, I experienced this firsthand. Seeds mean absolutely nothing. And how good of a regular season you had means absolutely nothing. It's like all the other playoffs in professional sports. It's which team is the hottest at the right time. My senior year, we were 29-0 heading into the Sweet 16, and we got upset by a team that started the season, I believe, just 7-10 in Stowe. And we got upset in the regional semifinals because they were just hot. And that's what happens sometimes. So the seedings are cool and it's fun to break this down. But over the next few weeks, Mitch, as we break down local teams from our areas that continue to win and move on, it's not going to surprise me at all if some of these teams that are seated lower end up upsetting some of these teams just because they're playing their best baseball at the right time. That's all that it is. 85% of the time, who's playing their best baseball and softball at the right time.
No doubt. I mean, we'll come back here. We'll go over some more stuff. We'll also go over some of the stuff that's going on the professional side, number of stories to get to there as we come back here on the Big Time Sports Podcast Show.
The Furby Electric Supply Company has bright ideas for your home. Save money by converting to energy-efficient electrical products or add ambiance with beautiful lighting features. It begins with a professional consultation and a visit to the Furby Lighting Showroom. Then certified Furby contractors complete your project right and on time. Since 1934, 4 generations have built a reputation of quality and trust, and they offer emergency services too. Just visit Furby.com. That's F-U-R-B-A-Y. The Furby Electric Supply Company.
You asked for it and we listened. Buckeye Career Center is now offering Certified Nail Technician as an adult education program. This 216-hour course begins in November and will run Tuesday through Thursday evenings from 5 to 9 p.m. Learn manicures, pedicures, infection control, salon operations, and more. Other part-time certification courses starting this fall include phlebotomy and welding. Call 330-339-2288 to register or visit BuckeyeCareerCenter.org for more information.
If you're looking for a new or pre-owned car or truck, why not see the Parkway Auto Group? Parkway is a special group of automotive experts with 8 brands to satisfy your needs. Come see the difference at the Parkway Auto Group on Commercial Parkway in Dover. 8 brands and 1 family. It's Parkway Auto Group.
Fall is in the air and part-time career enhancement courses at Buckeye Career Center are on the horizon. Registration is now open for Introduction to Beekeeping, Basic Small Engine Repair, and Sign Language. These part-time offerings run on Tuesday evenings and begin in November. Let Buckeye Career Center help you learn a new skill or advance your current skill set. Call 330-339-2288 for more information or to reserve your seat in one of these or our other part-time classes.
You matter. Everyone plays a part. We all have a role. Each of us can make a difference. You do matter, and the best way to have a positive impact is to pay it forward. With each of us helping one another to cope, feel better, and know that we belong. Pass on the positivity today. Tell someone else they matter too. Alt Care.
Alt Care, where you matter.
We all have 206 things in common. Our bones keep us up and moving. And we at Cleveland Clinic Union Hospital care about every single one of them. From the tip of your finger to a brand new hip, our orthopedic experts will keep you going while keeping you safe. For every break and breakthrough, for every bone and joint, for every care in the world. Get the care you need when and where you need it. Visit unionhospital.org.
Employee benefits, although time-consuming and expensive, is one of the top considerations for those making a job change. At Hummel Group, we help businesses craft benefit strategies that align with company goals. Through an emphasis on cost containment, leveraging technology, and benefits administration, we save your team valuable time. Your employees call us with questions, not you. Visit HummelHelps.com or call 800-860-1060. Don't just get insurance. Get Hummel.
And we're back here on the Big Time Sports podcast show. And before we get into any other of our future topics for the remainder of the show, we wanted to take a moment to send our condolences as we saw the loss of a pretty prominent Cleveland area sports figure this week. A guy who represented the organization we're about to talk about in a pretty impactful and emotional way for many reasons. We wanted to send our condolences to the Gilbert family after it was revealed on Saturday that Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, his son Nick has passed away at the age of 26 following a pretty much lifelong battle with neurofibromatosis, a genetic disorder with no known cure. It was unfortunate to hear that news because Nick became kind of a fan favorite over the years that he was representing the Cavaliers at the NBA draft. He was there in 2011 when the Cavs kind of surprised the world, those 2.8% odds, and got the number one pick to select Kyrie Irving out of Duke. Then he represents them the next year. And then the year after, in 2013, the Cavs get another number one pick now for Anthony Bennett, which was involved in the trade package to get Kevin Love from Minnesota. But beyond the Cavaliers just having luck and getting lottery picks, Nick became a fan favorite for a number of reasons. One of them being having the disposition that he had throughout his life, despite going through something as unfortunate as the disorder in subject. And when you hear about this happening, Mitch, it's obviously extremely tragic, and especially for the Gilbert family in question. I mean, I can't imagine what they're going through right now, and nobody should, it's unfortunate somebody has to go through this.
Yeah, it really is. And, there's a few things I think that parents in the world never want to experience of one's burying their own, son or daughter. And this is unfortunately something that the Gilbert family has to do. But you look back at the time Nick was here, only 26, which is another reason why it's so tragic. But he was just always so happy and smiley. And Mitch, he was the Cavs' good luck charm. He really was. That's what they called him. They called him a good luck charm. You mentioned him representing the Cavs at the lottery twice and getting 2 number one picks. And really, it's the bow tie that I'll remember him by. He wore the bow tie there. He loved bow ties. And this past season, when Nick really wasn't doing well, the Cavaliers had bow tie emblems on their warmups, and also the coaching staff had pullovers with bow tie emblems on it. And that was not only for Nick, but to raise awareness of what he was going through and this condition that is just awful to have. And, there is no cure for it. And the Gilberts launched a foundation in 2017 that's funded more than $18 million in research grants towards finding a cure for the type 1 neurofibromatosis that Nick had, which is that's amazing in and of itself to raise that much for it, trying to find a cure. And hopefully, unfortunately they weren't able to find one yet, but hopefully they are able to now later on down the road. And we'll see. I wouldn't be shocked, Mitch, if maybe the Cavaliers have some sort of amazing tribute when we kick off the 23-24 NBA season. Oh, yeah. Maybe emblem on all the jerseys the Cavs wear from here on out. A very, very unfortunate situation, and our thoughts and prayers and condolences are with the Gilbert family and the Cavaliers organization, because he was a big part of really with like Dan Gilbert said, his lucky charm, getting Kyrie Irving, and we know what happened after that. I mean, we eventually won an NBA championship, and it is terrible, but at the same time, you look at it and you think he's no longer suffering because there was no cure, and these were non-cancerous tumors that would grow on the brain or the spine or other places inside the body, which when you eventually saw Nick at certain times, he looked a lot different than what he did on that stage winning the draft lottery. So hopefully he's in a better place, obviously not in as much pain, but hopefully this is something the organization, the Gilbert family, can rally around as we move forward.
Yeah, I wanted to take a minute to showcase this on our screen here. It's the GilbertFamilyFoundation.org. That is where the primary message for the foundation can be seen. You can also figure out, you can also discover what, if you ever want to make a donation or kind of work towards the cause of potentially finding a cure for this disorder. That's where all the information, you can find it there. And his service will be on Tuesday at the Temple Israel in West Bloomfield Township, Michigan. The Gilberts reside in Michigan. So yeah, that's what we have in that respect. We will try to carefully move on over to our next topic, which is about the NBA, because the postseason is still ongoing. And you know, Mitch, I need to learn sometimes to keep my mouth shut. I know we do a show every week, twice a week, but sometimes I need to keep it shut when it needs to be, because I didn't think the Phoenix Suns were going to survive in this series against Denver, and they have done such to the point where Nikola Jokic, I don't think this is like the main catalyst of this of the series, because he's still dropping dimes, 53 points, setting a Nuggets record in Game 4, but he's out here shoving owners that I think flop more than your average NBA player at this point. I want to make that clear. I don't think Jokic is out here just going crazy, but give credit to the Suns, give credit to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, who I believe combined for 76 points on Sunday night to tie the series up at 2 apiece.
Yes. To your point with the Jokic and Ishba dust up last night in Game 4. I also just want to say, Ishba bought the Suns, 2 months ago?
Yes.
Do you really think these NBA players know who all the owners are? Because to me, I really don't think Jokic is at home going, okay, that's the owner of this team and this team and this team. To me, I think Jokic honestly thought that was a fan, and Ishba did hold the ball away from him. We know the Nuggets like to get out and run. Ishba did say that he does not believe Jokic should be penalized or suspended, because there is a rule, and it goes straight to the commissioner's desk, that if you have an altercation with the fan in the stands, it is an automatic suspension. I don't think he'll get suspended. And if he was, Mitch, what a disservice that would be to the NBA and this series, because this series has been incredible. Through 4 games, Jokic is averaging 36.5 points per game, 14 rebounds a game, and 9.5 assists per game. He's almost averaging a triple-double. Devin Booker for the Suns is averaging 36.3 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, and almost 9 assists. Mitch, when Chris Paul went out in Game 2, in which the Nuggets won, I wasn't sure what the Suns could possibly do. And all they've done is they've leaned on their best players to keep them in the series, in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, who've been sensational. And Jokic still has been sensational too. He just didn't get the help he really needed in Game 3. And last night couldn't get too much help because he scored over 50 points and he had 11 assists, and Jamal Murray played well. But the Western Conference playoffs have been so much more entertaining as a whole, in my opinion, than the Eastern Conference playoffs. And this series right now has my full attention. It has me looking to see what I have the next day, because I'm staying up to watch these games. And I know the Lakers and Warriors is very hyped up, as it should be. And it's been 2 blowout wins, 1 for each side in games 2 and 3. But the storyline's still there. And I don't think we're going to see blowouts again in the remaining of that series. But last night was just, I wanted that game to go to triple overtime, Mitch, not really caring who won. I'd like the Nuggets to win the series, but I just wanted it to keep going because it was so much fun to watch. It was like I was watching a video game, and the sliders were turned up for Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Jokic. For every time you shot, you were going to make it. And all I will say is Joel Embiid should be very thankful the MVP is a regular season award, because if it wasn't, I don't think he would be winning the MVP, because right now Jokic looks like the best player in basketball through the playoffs to this point.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Matt Ishbia is on ESPN.com. He does not want Jokic to be fined or suspended for the incident, so we can put that to rest. I'm surprised you're saying that about the West, though, because you mentioned the two blowouts that the Lakers and Warriors have had, and the Nuggets and Suns games have been good. But when you look over to the East, where Miami and New York are playing competitively right now, and then you just had on Sunday night the 76 or Sunday afternoon, the 76ers surviving to knot the series up against Boston, where James Harden, after bombing in games 2 and 3, coming up big in this one, knotting the game up within the closing seconds of regulation, and then getting that corner 3 to secure victory, even though Boston got a last second look that was ultimately waved off. That's where I'm like, this is the series where I'm thinking, again, I think I might have said it last week, whoever wins this series is going to represent the East in the NBA Finals.
I think I was with you last week, but Mitch, after watching this series through 4 games, I don't know if I can confidently say that anymore. What I will say first is I do believe the Celtics win this in 6 now. I believe the Celtics missed a golden opportunity to wrap up that game yesterday with some questionable decision-making by Joel Mazzulla. The knock on Doc Rivers is that he is not a very good playoff coach. He has the most series blown leads in NBA history as a coach. But he is out coaching Mazzulla. And listen, it's Mazzulla's first time as the head coach in the playoff. I get it. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade, but the Celtics had some questionable decision-making down the stretch. Do you really want Marcus Smart being the one who dribbles the ball and runs the clock out, take a shot to win? And then Jason Tatum sitting up there at the top of the key, driving and kicking to Marcus Smart, but the shot being too late, although it went in. The Celtics really had so many opportunities to win this game yesterday, game 4 in Philly, and they didn't. And it took a lot of breaks and a lot of big time plays from Harden and Embiid for the Sixers to win that game overtime, which is why I feel pretty confident in the Celtics wrapping this up in 6. But coaching matters. And we went through coaches last week on our last episode of the week, Mitch. If the Heat do move on here, Eric Spoelstra, I think, will be able to run a masterclass in terms of coaching over Mazzulla or Doc Rivers, which is why I don't know if I can confidently say anymore the winner of this series is going to win the East. But give credit where credit's due. James Harden showed up after he just completely disappeared in games 2 and 3. Joel Embiid had a very good game, but I do think, especially with home court, I think the Celtics will win this series. I think it's going to be over in 6, but maybe it's in 7. But we'll have to wait and see. It's been very entertaining. The Knicks and the Heat doesn't entertain me just because it's not as flashy and high scoring. It's a lot of defense, and the Knicks, the Cavs. So I just don't care about the Knicks.
No, the Knicks and Heat feel aggressive right now, but Miami's been out aggressing New York in these last couple of games to the point where Butler's doing his thing. Obviously, he's been the one that has been really leading this squad, averaging 25 points per game so far. And Bam Adebayo is getting some more solid outings right now, averaging 17, 9, 4 from his slash line. And the Heat have been averaging 116 points compared to the Knicks 103.7. This was not a great offensive unit this past season, especially from shooting. They're shooting 48.3% from the field right now, not from 3, but from the field. Just overall, it's fascinating.
It is fascinating, and I mean, really, if you think about it, if Jimmy Butler probably plays game 2 if he's healthy, is this a 3-0 series lead potentially? But I also just think that Miami, with how they played and how they handled Milwaukee in 5 games in the first round of the playoffs, I think the Heat will win this one in 5. I feel that's probably the most confident I am in out of any 4 of these series and saying who I think wins in how many games. I won't be shocked, though, if the Knicks come out and understand that if they lose tonight, their season's on the line, and not only are they going home, but Miami's already won at home and almost won both games at home. It took a bit of a collapse and a little bit of help for the Knicks to come back and win game 2. And I think you're going to see a desperate Knicks team tonight. I think it's probably going to be one of the more entertaining games of the series. But man, playoff Jimmy Butler is just something else. It really is. And it's also very frustrating because a lot of the Knicks players that killed the Cavs in the first round just aren't doing a whole lot. And you can give credit to the Heat for that and their defensive strategy, but at the same time, it's just these loose balls that are out there that the Knicks seemingly got every single time in the first round against the Cavs. They're not coming up with, and that's basketball. It's the bounce of the ball. But the playoffs have been a lot of fun. even though our team is gone. I don't know. Maybe it's because these teams aren't flashy in scoring. Maybe it's because they don't have a guy averaging 35 plus points on one side and 36 plus points on the other, but it's still entertaining basketball. I think the Heat win. We'll find out tonight, 7:30 on TNT, and then the Warriors-Lakers game 4. Can Anthony Davis break the stigma, Mitch? The stat was out there. Every time he has a big game, he has a really, really bad game the next time.
Right.
A really good game in game 3 in a blowout win for the Lakers. Can he break that? Or is he going to go back to the Anthony Davis we've seen for years now, where he has a really good game and then disappears? I don't know what to expect.
I don't know what to expect either, but we'll see what happens in the next coming games. By the way, if the Heat do end up going to the finals, as you mentioned, they'd be the first team to do so. There has been an 8 seed that made the finals before with a catch. It was the Knicks in 1999 during the lockout season, and that whole thing where like everybody came in out of shape and unprepared. That was one where it's like, okay, that's what got the Spurs their first championship too, because the Spurs kind of came out of nowhere and also did what they had to do. But this could be like the first full season 8 seed we've ever seen in the finals. If they win, that would be the lowest seed in to win a championship ever, surpassing the 6-seeded Rockets in 1995. When we come back, we'll go over some more topics here on the Big Time Sports Podcast Show right after these brief messages. Hey there, folks. This is Mitch Spinell, and I want to give you guys a quick message regarding 988. If you don't know what 988 is, it was created to make it easier to remember how to get help in the event of a mental health or addiction crisis. This is different than a medical, fire, or police emergency where 911 should still be called immediately. 988 connects you with Stark County's Crisis Center, which is equipped to help people in emotional distress or experiencing a mental health or addiction crisis. So remember, 911 for medical, fire, and police emergency help, and 988 for support in overcoming a mental health crisis in Stark County.
Are you trying to increase your speed, quickness, vertical leap, and agility? If so, NST Sports Performance is for you. NST trains athletes ages 5 through pro. NST designs each program specific to the athlete's needs, goals, and sports. For more, visit nstsports.com. Locations in North Canton and New Philadelphia. It's nstsports.com.
It takes a lot of practice to have a winning team. Albin Title has over 100 years of combined experience handling real estate, title, and escrow transactions. They serve Tuscarawas, Stark, Carroll, Harrison counties, and more. So choose Albin Title for your next home refinance, sale, or purchase. They'll get it done quickly and professionally. Contact Albin Title at 330-334-5800 or visit their website albintitle.com. Let them put their experience to work for you.
Hard work is something you're accustomed to. Van Nostrand Young understands that principle. Our access is achieved with organizations like Grange Insurance. Safety and prevention specialists utilize our VanCan assessments process to ensure that you and your colleagues are in the best hands. You want the safest environment for your business, and we can guide you there.
Call Van Nostrand Young Insurance in North Canton at 330-497-1867.
If you're purchasing a new home, the team at Hartzler's Quality Housing is here to help. Take advantage of record low interest rates to make your new home a reality. Locally owned and operated since 1978, Hartzler's Quality Housing has the experience to guide you through the process. You'll find a wide selection of model homes on site to fit any budget. Open 6 days a week just off I-77. You can also visit them online at hartzlers.com. Hartzler's Quality Housing. Quality from start to finish.
You deserve the best. And at Ferris Chevrolet, Buick, Cadillac, Toyota, that's what you get. We consider you, the customer, to be part of our family. Anybody can make promises, but when you visit Ferris, you get the Ferris deal from a Ferris wheel. So if you're looking for a car, truck, or van, think Ferris.
Wendy's without the Wendy's app is like Nugs without the sauce. Or a Frosty without the fries. Or a hamburger without the fresh beef. No! Level up. Get the app to order ahead, order delivery, earn free food, and get app-exclusive offers. One app, all the Wendy's.
Offer for a limited time at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. App registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Get out of the dugout and onto the field with help from Velocity Sports. Velocity Sports is a baseball and softball training academy with locations in North Canton and Canal Fulton. Our new Canal Fulton features 10,000 square feet of training space with 6 cages for hitting and pitching and a large commercial weight room. Velocity Sports will sharpen your skills and get you in the starting lineup. For more info, go to velosportsohio.com.
Turning 65 soon or already on Medicare? Hummel Group can help you explore your options and find a plan that fits your unique healthcare needs and budget. Our experienced agents provide personalized advice and help you compare plans from top insurance carriers for free. We're here to help you find the Medicare plan that's right for you. Visit HummelHelps.com or call 800-860-1060 to speak to an agent about Medicare. Don't just get insurance, get Hummel.
Hey, we're back here on the Big Time Sports Podcast Show. Mitch Spinell, Mitchell Ballard. Mitch, I'm curious about a number of certain stories that we're going to get to here in a second. I want to get to this one first, though. You see this thing going on with Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay. You've seen this. Okay, so those of you who have not seen it yet on your local, your whatever, your Twitter page or your anything, Jim Irsay wanted to make it clear that retired quarterback Andrew Luck is off limits. This is from Stephen Holder of ESPN. After learning the availability of Luck was the subject of an inquiry last year by the Washington Commanders, Irsay took to social media Sunday to warn teams about any correspondence regarding the long-retired Colts quarterback. They even had it on Twitter, which I don't have here, unfortunately. If any team attempted to contact Andrew Luck or any associate of him to play for their franchise, it would be a clear violation of the league's tampering policy, Irsay posted on Twitter. Luck retired in 2019 with 3 seasons remaining on his contract, technically remaining property of the Colts at 33 years old, long gone from the league. I mean, Mitch, what caused him out of the blue to just tweet that one night? That's what I don't understand. If this happened last year with Washington, there's no way that this is just because of what happened with Washington. He had to have heard, or maybe he had verifiable proof that another team, that seems unlikely, that another team was trying to inquire on his quarterback to return to their squad, even though he does have contractual ownership of the player. That's where I'm confused.
Jim Irsay does a lot of things, Mitch, that a lot of people don't understand. And this is one of them. It seems to me Andrew Luck has never thought about coming back to play football. He retired for a reason. Listen, if a team calls him, I have a feeling that Andrew Luck or his representatives are just going to hang up the phone and say, nope, he's done.
Yeah.
But could this be something as simple as Irsay's nervous they made a bad pick taking Richardson at 4? I don't know. Like, I mean, anything's out there, but it's very odd, and it's so out of the blue. Like, I mean, so out of the blue that it's probably also just because it's a, not a big news week in the NFL.
Right.
But I don't know what to think of this. I personally don't think Andrew Luck would ever come back to play football. I think he was trying to make a point when he retired, but who knows? Maybe the Commanders almost got him to come out of retirement, and I have no idea what the official rules are. I mean, if he retired in 2019, had 3 years left in his contract, he would be a free agent, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe after this season. So I don't know how all that works, but I do know Jim Irsay sometimes, Mitch, just says things randomly, as he did when he asked if they should draft another quarterback after they already took Anthony Richardson, which was, to me, very odd. And I thought maybe could be tampering as well, because I don't know how you can ask a fan base if you should draft a player that's available. But what do I know?
I'm also wondering if he's trying to save collateral because he just got rid of his one of his quarterbacks in Nick Foles. Could be that. I do also think we're decades away from it, but it's going to happen, of an NFL GM who's young enough and was born during the social media age that's going to be like, who do you guys think we should vote for? Twitter poll, A, B, C, D. We're going to get that at some point. I know that some GM is going to be bold enough, or some owner, excuse me. GM's going to get fired doing that, but an owner can't get fired. unfortunately for a number of other teams like the Washington Commanders, who currently have Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, and Jake Fromm on their roster. So, I mean, they're already got quarterbacks for this season. All right, so we got that. We want to talk about Cleveland Guardians because this was a good series win for the Guardians this past weekend. 2 out of 3 against the Twins. The offense seemed to really be bringing something this week. They got off to a good start on Sunday against Minnesota, held on for the victories. But Mitch, we're not getting anywhere in this season, it seems so far, without this pitching staff who has just looked so good. These young guns, these young arms just look so good this year. It's hard for me to keep finding ways to keep praising them, but that's how efficient they are. And that's how sneakily I'm trying to think of the term, sneakily underrepresented they are. They're not getting as much press as you would see some of the top players in the league, but they're like this machine that just is quietly running in the back while everything else is either looking pristine and fine or completely sputtering on all fronts. This one's just in the back and nobody's noticing. And then people notice it eventually because it's in the corner.
And I like it better that way. I like when our teams are under the radar. I don't like a lot of expectations. And yes, we had expectations as fans, but there wasn't a lot of talk throughout media and networks about the Guardians this season about being a potential World Series team. And look, the Guardians are doing something again that kind of goes against the rules of baseball, and you're relying on rookies right now in your rotation. But the Guardians/Indians have an amazing track record of developing pitchers. And right now you're seeing the next wave in Logan Allen and Tanner Bybee. And Mitch, there was are they going to stay up here? I don't know. Maybe it was a spot start. No, Mitch, it looks like they're staying up here because the Guardians also made a couple roster moves, and Zach Plesac was optioned to Columbus. So Bybee and Logan Allen, for the most part, Mitch, look like they're safe, and they deserve to be safe. One of the losses they took was a 1-run loss, and it's not their fault. You give up 2 runs, 3 runs, and your offense can't get anything going. I mean, really, the downfall of this team has been the offense so far. And I think they're starting to notice that because Oscar Gonzalez also got sent down to Columbus.
Yeah.
There was a report today from Andre Knott, who covers the team for Bally Sports Great Lakes. Will Brennan might be on his way to Columbus. I know yesterday he was like 3 for his last 34. As much as we want to give the Guardians a hard time, it is still early, but they're starting to show you they're not going to put up with just letting guys go. I mean, yesterday in a big game, because keep in mind, you went from 19 games against all your divisional opponents now to 13. You lose 6 games there. So every series win against divisional opponents is massive. And what did they do yesterday in a game that they really had to win? They sat Ahmed Rosario, who has been horrible this season, Gabriel Arias. And I think you're starting to see they're going to do whatever they have to do to win. And now, after taking 2 of 3, after beating 2 of the top pitchers in baseball from ERA and wins-loss records from the Twins rotation, they welcome in the second hottest team in baseball now, Mitch, the Detroit Tigers, which is crazy to think. The Tigers, though, only a half game back of the Guardians in the American League Central. So now this is a massive series, especially because you lost 2 of 3 to Detroit just a few weeks ago. And the pitching has been phenomenal. The starting pitching, the bullpen has a couple lapses. Sam Hentges is back. That's a big get for this Guardians team. A tall, reliable veteran left-hander you can go to. We saw him in tough spots last year be able to wiggle out of damage and avoid damage and really keep teams in it. But it was a very nice weekend for the Guardians, and hopefully they keep it rolling because this Detroit series is massive, even though it's only May 8th as we sit here and record this.
Yeah, Detroit's they had won 5 in a row, but they lost to St. Louis on Sunday, who in turn snapped their 8-game losing streak. I mean, Detroit's kind of on a run right now. Boston's on a big run right now. They're really not catching up to Tampa Bay at this point because Tampa Bay got off to such a hot start, but nobody thought the Red Sox would be where they are at this point, even early on in the season. So, and the Yankees being in last place is what makes it even more strange. So there is that. I mean, as far as everything else goes, you haven't been watching much of the hockey playoffs. I have. Last night we saw the Kraken dominate the second period to beat Dallas. We also saw a number of other scores that included the Panthers winning over the Maple Leafs in overtime to go up 3-0. So the Panthers, Florida Panthers, who you don't hear much of throughout these years in hockey, might be on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then, of course, you have the Devils taking on the Hurricanes. So Carolina's lead is cut from 2-0 to 2-1. Now, tonight, we'll also have a pair of games one game, in the Golden Knights taking on the Oilers. That series is tied at 1-1 after Edmonton knotted it up on Saturday, 5-1. And as far as that goes. And then finally, look, I saw the post this morning, and if I can bring it up here really quickly, this is you're gonna see what it was, because I don't know if I sent this to you. It was this post by the Cleveland Browns at 8 a.m. today. Stay tuned to your feed this morning, which had people thinking, oh, great, it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be cool. And then it was literally just, oh, here's our final 5 logos for the Dog Pound this year. Yeah, that was a bit of a disappointment, but look, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be the team logo. It's not going to be the field logo. It's going to be the Dog Pound logo. I'm picking either top left or bottom right, and that's pretty much that. I don't care for the side profile, and the other two look like, while they're better than anything I could do, they look a little too simple compared to the ones I mentioned that I prefer.
And Mitch, keep that logo up.
Okay.
You can click on it, make it larger. I'm a big fan of the bottom right. That's probably my number one choice.
Yep.
I also like the top left, then probably the middle. If it's the bottom left, Mitch, I'm going to be so upset, because although it's better than anything I could do, it just does not. I want an intimidating logo, or somewhat intimidating logo, or I want a logo that has a lot of Cleveland in it. And there are details for every single logo there. So that bottom right one there, it has the state of Ohio in the design.
Yep.
It has a football logo as the nose. The East end zone is part of the design. The guitar pick in the collar to represent the city of rock and roll. The Guardian Bridge is actually
it's in the
jaw, I guess.
The pawn, the pawn of the jaw. Yeah.
Yeah. The pound helmet and the helmet stripe in the middle of the dog. Like, that to me is so cool, because it looks like a good logo, and it also has a lot of things to connect it both to the franchise and the city of Cleveland. I do like the middle one, though, because I like that in the wrinkle marks of the dog, you can see CLE. And actually, that was one I saw made on Twitter by somebody, or excuse me, TikTok, that recreated all the logos for all the NFL teams. And
yeah, I like her. Yep.
She had a really cool way of doing it for different teams. The Detroit Lions was probably my favorite, but I really like those. But I swear, if it's the bottom left, the Browns have let us down yet again.
It's not. I don't think it's going to be. It's too simple in the details, and it's a clean looking logo. I don't know. There's something weird about the top right one, and it's not bad, but it doesn't feel like, it looks very different in its design compared to every other one. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's more detailed than everybody. That's the thing. It's more detailed, but it doesn't look like it does, because it looks like it stands out compared to the other ones for whatever reason. Maybe it's the red eye. Maybe it's the detail in the teeth. I don't know.
Orange, maybe that's what another reason.
Could be that. I mean, the bottom right one has a lot of brown in it as well, and I like that. I had a friend who sent me all of the details regarding that one that I can bring up here. It was the bottom right one that we talked about, and this is all the stuff that you had mentioned. This is all the helmet stripe, the pound helmet, the Guardian Bridge, the spikes, which evoke the 8 championships that the Browns have won in the pre-Super Bowl era, which is a nice little thing there. The East end zone, the football, the Ohio. I wish the Ohio looked a little more like the state, but I can understand you're not trying to make it look exactly like the out shape of Ohio, but I can see that. I didn't realize that there was a guitar pick at the bottom there. That's a nice little touch that I don't know. I could see this one being the winner, but depends on what's going to happen. All right. Thank you guys for listening so much to the Big Time Sports Ohio, or Big Time Sports podcast show. You can find our show on the local broadcast network app, as well as on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcasts, courtesy of Spotify for podcasters. You can all, if you're here on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell. You can also check out BigTimeSportsOhio.com. That's where you can find our latest articles and videos and game broadcasts. You can also check us out on Twitter at BTS Ohio, on Facebook and Instagram at Big Time Sports Ohio, and at Mitch Spinell, at Mitchell Ballard, pretty much anywhere you can find a social media account. Mitch, what's our fact of the day?
Mitch, your fact of the day is Fred Bauer made Pringles. He is the founder of Pringles.
Okay.
He is actually buried, or at least some of his ashes, are buried in a Pringles can.
That's about right. That's about right. What's the best Pringles flavor?
Oh, that's so hard. I think it just depends on the day. I love barbecue. I love sour cream and onion. I'm just not an original guy. I don't like the original Pringle.
No, you don't like
I'd rather
original
have
Pringles.
I'd rather have a regular potato chip before I have an original Pringle.
Okay, I'll give you that one. I like an original Pringle as much as the next guy, but I think I'd rather have an original chip. Sour cream and onion and pizza are the way to go. All right, thank you guys so much for listening or watching to the Big Time Sports Ohio podcast show.